We lost the internet?
I don't know. I didn't notice a change. So it looks like we lost connection, but we are back online.
We are back.
We got too deep.
We were getting deep. But because now you have schools now that are teaching a broad range. They are teaching the full MMA, but that is specifically sport related.
Yeah.
Like they're teaching within the context of these are the rules. This is what you're allowed to do. We're going to teach you this sport.
Yeah.
Not necessarily martial art anymore. It's more of a sport.
Like what's happening is they're teaching that sport, but sometimes the student will make the mistake of thinking sport and real life is the same thing.
Right.
And it's not.
So that is the danger with MMA and how it's progressing.
Competition and self-defense are two separate.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think
tools.
the danger is because of MMA. The danger is the danger lies in I think ignorance. Like if you wanna be a science major, you know what university you should go to, right? If you want to be a kinesiology major, you know which university you should go to. So as a student, you do your homework. You don't sign up for a kinesiology program, go through it all 4 years, wanting to be a geography student, and when you get on that podium, you're like, what the hell? Why does it say kinesiology?
Right.
Well, for the last 4 years, you should have done your homework and know that you're not being taught what you want to learn. So MMA is a sport. They're pretty upfront about what they're teaching, but I think the onus is on the student to know
What
you're
their
learning.
intention is.
Yeah, and why they want to learn it.
That's what students do. Because if you don't do that, you're not a student. You're just being a slave. You're just being told what to do, and you're just accepting it. Right?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Absolutely.
Well, it's so true, and because we've got obviously we got my two boys, and they're in jiu-jitsu. But I was looking at the whole fact. Okay, why jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at I've got two boys. They're gonna fight.
Yeah.
Might as well learn how to fight properly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So that they're not freaking pulling each other's eyes out. And
How are they doing
their hair
that?
out. They love it.
Yeah.
They love
That's
it.
good.
Because they're on the ground, they're wrestling, and then they come home and they're on the ground wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's natural. It's ingrained. We've been wrestling for ever since we probably realized what we can do. So
That's right.
and they love it. Yeah, the discipline's there. They've got a great instructor. The sensei at Bravado.
Bravado's really good.
And they're getting along with all the kids there as well. But I know as they get older, I would love them to get into something like a Muay Thai so that they have the striking aspect as well.
Yeah.
If they want to continue with the martial art, obviously we're going to put that up
Yeah.
to them. But the way that they're going with it, absolutely.
And it's good that they have you too, because I think you and Michelle do like a really good job of making them aware. And that is probably the most important self-defense tool you can give to any child.
Awareness.
Yeah. And you don't have to look far. You ever watch Discovery Channel?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when a predator like a lion attacks a group of antelope, who do they pick on?
The youngest or the weakest?
The youngest or the weakest.
The slowest
right?
one.
The slowest.
And when the rest of the pack defends that antelope, who gets sent in?
The strongest.
The strongest. So when we're talking about youth martial art and we're teaching them to fight, sometimes we can make the mistake of turning kids into fighters. And the problem with that is when somebody attacks a kid, you can guarantee that kid is going to be like 3 times their size and quadruple their quantity. It's not one-on-one fighting. It's like 4 big animal guys on
David
one
and
kid,
Goliath.
right? So for kids, they will naturally have a hard time fighting their way out of that situation. A, they're smaller. B, their motor skills are still developing, so it's not there. So to fight their way out of it is a little bit, it's hard. It's naturally harder for them. It's almost by fluke that they have to get out of a situation. What's really important for kids is for them to understand and realize from a social perspective when a fight is about to erupt. So we were even talking about this last week, or our last conversation. There's 5 layers to a fight. There's avoid, run, hide, talk, fight, and die. Like it's least the case. It's less likely the case that when we go out,
We're going to fight and die.
bam, already my hand is on your throat and I got a gun to your head. Usually there's some sort of like cue.
Escalation. Yeah. It's got to escalate from somewhere.
There's a
You
cue.
have a heads up.
Yeah, like you're walking down Richmond Street, Toronto, and you choose to take a detour and go through an alleyway. There's your first cue. And then there's a guy in the corner, with 2 guys, hoods on. You can't make out their face. There's your second cue. But yet you still walk forward.
Right.
And then they jump on you, and then you start acting. Oh, I'm
So
in
the
a
whole
fight.
avoid, the hide, the run.
Yeah, and I think kids are very perceptive like that. You know, they can tell. They can tell when somebody's shady. Like with my kids, but the classes kind of intersect. As soon as the kids' class is done, the adults walk in. So sometimes the adults walk in, they're watching the kids' class, and I have a couple guys just purposely look shady. So I'll purposely turn my kids. I'm like, okay, look at these people. Which one do you think you should stay away from? And they'll like, look. They're like,
Yeah.
that one.
That's Jamie, right?
What's funny is I'll ask him why, and they'll be like, because his hands are in his pockets and I can't see his hands, and it looks like he's trying to hide it, and he was like hiding.
Wow.
What was in his pocket.
Yeah.
They're super perceptive. So kids, when they have that sense of perception,
When they're enabled. When they have
then
the
they're
tool.
enabled. Then what we've done is we've bought them time and space, and in a fight, that's what you're fighting for: time and space. He or she who controls time or space wins the fight, right? So with kids, physically they're not going to control time and space. Like I don't care what kind of master kid you got, 4-year-old's not going to beat me up.
Right.
You're just not,
Yeah.
right? But if that kid is just a little bit more aware than I am, and know I have a bad day and I'm probably going to do something before I even know I'm going to do something, that kid's going to be safe. So there's a lot of awareness that happens, and that builds through, I think, fighting too, because you can tell kids know when they're about to be attacked. It's like your kids, I think they're starting to have the sensitivity to know when they're about to be submitted.
Right.
So they move and they posture their way to prevent that from happening. So I guess what I'm saying is parents actually have a bigger role than the martial arts instructor. When you're encouraging that sense of awareness, you're encouraging those skills that they're learning in martial art and having them apply it, like in the larger sense, to
Right.
be aware when this guy looks like he wants to kidnap you. You know what I mean? Stay away from that dude, right? And martial arts gets misused when you don't have figures like yourselves for these kids to go home to. Then they're like taking home this armbar and like, yeah, I can't wait to do this on that friggin' guy who called me
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah.
You know, then they're just
And they
gonna do
misuse
it.
the tools.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a parent once that got upset with me, like really upset, because this kid was always getting bullied, and he got bullied at school, and he clocked him one like right in the head.
Oh,
punched
Your
him.
student
Yeah,
clocked the bully.
just
punched
punched
him in the
down.
head, grabbed him, and kneed him, right? And so the family was like celebrating. They brought him in to like tell him what you did, and the family was just like celebrating, like, yeah, we got this bastard. Imagine like grown ass parents
Yeah.
celebrating a kid getting beat up. So I look at the kid, I'm like, what I was concerned about was him being happy about hurting another human. You should be happy that you're safe. You shouldn't be happy about
About hurting
into
somebody
else.
yeah,
It was
because
out of necessity.
yeah, because you know, how does a bully become a bully? It's when a person who was bullied starts to learn that they can bully
They can
other
bully
people
somebody
too.
else.
Then
Yeah.
they became a bully. So I was talking to the
They
kid.
realize their
Yeah.
power and
He realizes he could do that to somebody else. Then he
Yeah.
can flip the script. Misuse of power.
Absolutely. So what's funny is I was talking to the kid. I want to know. I go, how do you feel? And what's funny was he looked over at his parents first, and saw them all happy, and he goes to me, "Oh, I really like it. I felt so good." And then I told him, like, listen, it's good that you defend yourself, but it's not necessarily good to celebrate about hurting somebody, because what happens if somebody celebrates hurting you? Or
Yeah.
one day you might become like that guy. You want to be like that guy?
Right.
Parents got totally upset.
wow.
So my point is,
They were upset that you said that?
Yeah.
Because they were celebrating
Yeah.
at that time and
Yep, they hated me for it.
did they realize what you were trying to do there?
I think they did. They didn't want to.
They didn't want to admit that they were
Because-
doing
yeah.
something wrong by celebrating someone's
Yeah, I think they, as
being a
parents,
victim.
I think as kids, those parents were also bullied too, and they never really got to fight back. So they just really.
vicariously living through
yeah.
through their
Yeah.
kids.
So the real danger, just going back to your question about martial art being misused, the real danger isn't necessarily in the technique; it's in your leaders and what they're enforcing. Because
And
Mar-
who you follow, who you choose
Yeah.
to follow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
martial
Second
art
Karate
is,
Kid. Like,
That's
who do
right.
you follow? Who's your master, right?
that's right. So you have to have really good leaders to lead you down the right path, because martial art is just a set of techniques. That's all it is. It's just a body of weapons, and you use it.
Mm-hmm.
But the virtue and the ethics come from who you're learning from.
Mm-hmm.
If you have poor leaders, and this is universal, not just like martial art, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you have poor leaders, you're only gonna learn to the level of that they brought you to.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You got great leaders; they're gonna take you to heights that you never thought you could take yourself to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great point, because I know that's something that I'm always trying to be conscious with my kids is when they do something good, and they are very proud of it, I always try to stay straight faced because I don't want them associating what they did good with pleasing me.
Yeah.
I don't want them thinking I need to do things to please mom and dad.
Yeah.
I want them to do something and then realize I did this. It was me.
Yeah.
I was the one who did it, and I need to feel good because I did it, not because my dad's happy.
Like not external, not an external.
It's not an external.
That's
a great
amazing.
habit. That's a great habit. Because you know what? They're going to have guys that they meet at school or girls in groups that they want to please.
Exactly.
And then they're going to look at that person or that group and they're going to do things to please them, even if it's like negative things.
Exactly.
But if they're already used to right now pleasing themselves, they're learning self-identity.
Right.
You know, B, they're learning self-accomplishment. And C, they're being self-sustaining because they don't need somebody's approval to act.
Mm-hmm. They're independent of people's approval.
Yeah.
Wow, at an early age too. That's...
Well, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's very, I don't know, I always just thought, you know what, I mean, kids these days, they grow up and they're always trying to please somebody else. Like, they're always doing something for somebody. You hear all the time, you know, I'm going to go to med school because mom and dad want me to go to med school. I'm going to be a lawyer because mom and dad want me to be a lawyer. Well, what the fuck do you want to be?
Yeah.
Like, do it for yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Right? And I mean, it's a big lesson that even Michelle, because we grew up and, it was, when I grew up, it was like, I want to be a doctor. Well, no, I don't really want to be a doctor when I grow up. Yeah,
like society?
As I hit high school, and I was like, no, I don't really want to be a doctor. I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So then I just started to realize that, no, I need to do things for myself. Mm-hmm. And when I have kids, I want to raise them to be able to follow their own dreams, not what I want them to do. Yeah. But obviously we'll guide them in the right directions, but I want them to do that for them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I want them to be, self-sustained, self-pleasure, self-pleasing. Yep. Do things because it makes them happy. Yeah. Because in the end, if they're happy, I'm going to be happy no matter what. Right? No matter what
and your kids are blessed to have you because the toughest students I've ever had were the ones who went home to fathers that weren't like that. The ones that had like the worst time confidence issues were the ones that went home to fathers that were like, you can't do more push-ups than I can, your push-ups suck, or whatever. They don't have that avenue to kind of continue these values. Mm-hmm. So it's very much like a team thing when it comes to martial arts school. Martial arts school will only work if the teacher is teaching values that are positive, but also the family believes in those too, and then the child will go because, and it's
there has to be a support system. Yeah,
the child is only just exhibiting the symptoms of the family. The family is the cause.
They're the byproduct. Yeah,
right.
They're just the symptoms of what we do, and I see it in the gym all the time.
And they have restraint.
What's that?
They do, and the kids, they have more restraint. Like they are the byproduct, but they kind of hold back what the actual reality is of their situation.
Yep, absolutely, man, absolutely. But kids are they're geniuses too, man. They know when something is wrong, and they know when something is right because they feel it. I do
because they listen to their body.
Yeah, they listen to their body. Sometimes I won't tell kids how many push-ups they're gonna do. Sometimes we'll have a vote.
You just start. Yeah.
I'm like, how many push-ups you guys gonna do today? Kids will be like, 100.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what? And it's funny because in the adults, you tell them 30, they'll like moan and groan.
Yeah.
50, it's like, I'm crazy.
And sit-ups.
Yeah. These kids will say, I'm gonna do 100, and honestly, they won't move until they do 100.
Yeah.
Like they count and they...
Sometimes I'll be going over class. I'm like, geez, I shouldn't have done this. Now they're going over class. And the kids still, they're like, I'm going to do 100, And it's funny. It's too bad because sometimes we tend to wire that out of kids.
Yeah. It's the limiting beliefs of adults.
Yeah.
Where kids are just like, I'll do 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 1,000,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to do
it. Even if it takes me a couple days.
Yeah.
I'll do like 100 every 10 minutes.
Man.
They're special, man. That's probably one of the more fulfilling parts of my job, working with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, when did you get that feeling of this is what you need to be doing? This is what you love, and you need to be doing it, and you just need to be immersed in this environment 24/7.
Third year university, sitting in my philosophy class, and all that was going on in my head was hearing the smash of pads, the feeling of like sweat in the air. Running, the feeling of what it's like to hit something or spar with somebody. It was like, what? And I had an epiphany because here I was sitting this boring ass lecture was going on.
What school?
York University.
York.
Shout outs to York. It's all good.
Yeah.
York is a good school.
No offense.
York's a good school. I was just there, and I'm like, there's just a disconnect. I saw it clear as day. There's what I think I should be, and here is what I want to be. And then,
Or who you already are.
yeah, maybe. But I remember saying to myself, I'm like, we go to university to figure out what we want to do. Like, that's the premise why we do it. Here I am, I already know what I want to do, but yet I'm purposely doing what I don't want to do. And losing money for it.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, right then and there, I'm like, the ball is like really in my court. Like, what do I want to do? So I walked out. I didn't even think about anything. I just walked out and never went back.
What? You hung up your university gloves.
Yep. And I just trained daily.
Dude,
Trained,
that's very similar to my story, man.
Yeah, is it? It's liberating, man.
Yeah.
Wow, what was your story?
I feel the same way about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, similar as you. So I'm in poli-sci, political science, at U of T, sitting in lecture halls, and like I had the same realization. I'm just like, all these people are talking about politics and the world and you know, like the way the world works. I'm like, but are they really doing anything? Are these people going to do anything about it? And I was starting to awaken to my entrepreneurial spirit and what the real desires were towards real estate and having my own business. Yeah. And I'm like, same thing as you. If I know what I want, why am I spending, you know, this much money and this much time on something that I know that I don't want? Yeah. And as soon as that realization happened, it was like I just stopped. Yeah. I said, this is like, I'm not going back next year. Yeah. That's right. It was probably April 2006, so the semester just ended, and I just decided, I'm like, you know what, September rolls around, I'm not going back.
Done. And you up your karmic level when you do that too. Because then...
By deciding?
Those moments change the frequency of your life, because essentially what you're saying is courage to me matters more than fear. That's essentially what you just said. Right?
Wow.
And that's...
I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there, you can stay in school because you're scared of what your parents might think, or you're scared that maybe you won't get a job because you don't have a degree, and you can live your life under fear, or you can just say to yourself, fuck it.
Yeah. I can only imagine what your parents said.
No, what do you think a Filipino parent would say?
Probably the same thing as my parents said.
I migrated here and I left my family.
And you're the only one in an entire family who is going to be getting a degree.
Yeah.
Oh my god, such pressure.
And that's the thing, because now once you change the frequency of life to living courage, once you set that tone, I'm going to live life because I'm courageous, it has to be that way, because that courage has to be tested.
You took a stand. Yeah.
The courage has to be tested. It's going to be tested by criticism. It's going to be tested by disappointment from others. It's always going to be tested.
It's tested by failures as well.
Yep.
Right? Like, how committed are you to your vision?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you fall down, will you get back up?
Yeah. Because all you're saying at that point is courage matters more than fear, but saying is not enough. Again, you have to do it, and your courage has to become tangible to you. So a lot of my confidence in running the school by myself comes from the fact that I've had...
You're running it by yourself?
Yeah. I don't have anybody.
No support?
Well,
like
I mean, my students like really support, but I don't have like formal staff or...
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, okay, how many students do you have?
We have about 110 right now.
Wow. Oh my god. That's impressive, man.
Thank you, man.
Year and a half, 110 students.
Okay, how many classes a week? Is it every day? Or
every day. Every day except Friday. I chill on
Friday. You have other instructors as well?
Well, I have two senior students that became assistant instructors, Pucho and Cruz, and they help out now. But that's the road before then, I had to really rely on the tangibility of courage, right? Like, that's all you had.
This is my truth. This is it right here.
Keep living it and
put it to the test.
I remember there's this one time I was teaching
That's
for
scary,
free.
Man.
What's that?
That's scary.
Nah, it's fun. It's fun. I started teaching for free because I wanted to see if people would learn from me, just for knowledge reasons, not for bargain reasons. So I think 2 years ago that
was like your research.
Yeah.
That's
what you did in the community centers?
No, even before that. I was teaching my basement.
Oh. I saw you in the basement. I saw you were doing it on the fields, like in the grass.
I had Jamie, I had Anthony, Michael Del Rey. Yeah, we teach on the field. And so one day the city didn't like that we were doing that, so they kicked us off the field.
No!
Yeah, so inside I'm like, jeez, I'm so small time. Right? It's like being on stage and being kicked off the stage, but yet you still want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not gonna stop me. So there's a dirt patch. So we
Oh
moved
my-
to the dirt patch and
Yeah.
just training there.
Just wherever.
Yeah, but
This is an amazing story, man.
we moved to the dirt patch and we just trained just as hard. But in that moment, again, like you can choose courage over fear because, well, at that moment is more embarrassment over dedication. But in that moment, I was like, these guys are kicking me off, but it's not worse than
It's not going to stop you.
my parents saying, I'm disappointed. Like tangibility, right? You have that experience now.
Did your parents ever say to you, you should just get a job? Like, you should...
There'd be moments where they do it.
Yeah.
There'd be moments where they'd really convince you and like wave the whole economic reason in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Was it ever tempting, or were you just totally committed?
man, there's times where my bank account was like negative 2,000.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was just straight up low. But I don't know. For some reason,
You trust
it would make a lot of sense to go get a job. But for some reason, like I just had this weird sense that everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna be fine. Like there's just this little voice.
That's
Yeah.
the most great opportunity.
Yeah.
That's all you... Yeah.
It's like
Try doing that when you have 2 kids.
I know. Hopefully that voice will still be there. But yeah, man, it was just there was just this face of economic dire, but it's weird. I still had like a calm sense that just relax, just go
It's gonna
straight.
come together.
Gonna work
Yeah,
out.
it's gonna work out.
Yeah, you don't need to understand it right now. Just
Yeah. Well, like, yeah.
That's
I know what you
unbelievable.
mean. Like, fuck, you're getting kicked off the field? Gives a fuck. You're getting kicked off the field.
Yeah.
It's not like you're getting kicked out of the country. It's like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
yeah, man. So it was the path has been entrepreneur path has been like great. There's a lot of spiritual development that happened through it.
Yeah,
think you-
a lot
you-
of growth. You learn a lot about yourself.
Your entire, like, everything that you're doing, like the Muay Thai, the training, teaching 110
Feels like they all make
students,
sense, right?
Entrepreneurship, it comes together.
Yeah.
And from what you're saying, it's very, like, there's so much self-discovery and constant
Yeah.
self-mastery.
For
Like,
sure.
it doesn't end. It's just the journey
Yeah.
is the journey.
Yeah,
And with the entrepreneurship, now you're figuring out, like, how committed are you?
yeah,
How strong are my beliefs in my vision?
yeah.
Like, will these little temptations,
Yeah.
like, will I go that way?
Yes.
Or am I going to be like, no, I'm going to stand my ground
Yeah.
and it's coming. Like, it's coming.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when. I'm just gonna, every day I'm going to act and do. And
Yeah.
it's going to come.
But those moments of choosing courage over fear is like central because we only have like
It's a defining moment.
we only have a few defining moments, and
Oh,
depending
yeah.
on how you decide on those
So
moments.
how many do you think you've had in your life?
life?
It's probably the ones that you go to all the time when you're
Probably about 3, and I think when I look back on those 3, the way I decided in those moments were pretty consistent.
Yeah.
It was pretty consistent. It's not
So
like
what's
I went
going
left
on? Like,
and went right.
what was it?
Well, one was getting kicked out of school, or not getting kicked out. Leaving school. No. One was basketball. One was basketball.
Self-sabotaging.
Yeah, self-sabotaging. 2 was leaving school.
Yeah.
3 was the decision to open the place. Because
Wow.
yeah, all 3 were moments that was like, is it courage or fear? The first time at basketball, I chose fear. It was just too young. But now the second
Because of
and
that
third one,
contrast.
yeah. After opening the gym, I was able to go back and said, I've chosen courage over fear before. So this time it's not that hard to do it.
And you've chosen fear over courage before.
I've done fear
so
over
you can
courage.
see the difference
Yeah.
You can see the contrast. You've been
Yeah.
and which way it's
in the dark and in the light.
Yeah. And there's an important theme there because in a lot of times we can live life like it's gray. Like, that saying, it's not all black and white. There's shades of gray. And the problem with that is oftentimes that can lead to inaction and paralysis. In martial arts,
analysis paralysis.
it's black and white. You either hit or got hit.
Or you get it.
Like, you can
Two
sit there and
choices.
debate.
Yeah.
You can stay awake or get knocked out. You can stay alive or get submitted. Which one? So when we hit those defining moments, it's so important to just be black and white. Is it courage or fear? Stop or go? Just do it. Which one?
And you can draw from so much, man. Like they're a metaphor for each other. Life and fighting in life and
That's
martial
why
arts.
everybody's drawn to fighting, dude. When you watch it,
Yeah.
you might not know about it, but yet you feel like you know about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You might not ever be in a fight, but you're interested in it.
But you are in a battle, like, for your life.
Yep.
whatever it is.
And we all are, aren't we?
It's to succeed.
Absolutely.
It's to expand. It's to reach your potential.
Yeah.
And everyone can relate to the battlegrounds.
Yeah, it's because it's so
metaphor.
primal, right?
Yeah.
When you're in a fight, it's just, I mean, it's like life. You're fighting for something.
Yeah. It's a universal
That's beauty, man.
vehicle. Yeah. And that's the great thing, because one of my other passions is to help people. Everybody wants to help people. I personally think there's only 3 purposes in life. Number 1 is to educate yourself. Number 2 is to grow. And number 3, grow somebody else. That's if you do that.
So simplistic, but amazing.
Yeah. So educate, grow yourself, grow somebody else. So when you look at martial art and my desire to help people, it became easy to figure out that martial art was maybe my vehicle to help others. Like I went through this entire path of building myself. Now I'm in a phase where I'm helping build others. And martial art is, for me at least, it's easy to help people because of that
Self-growth you had.
yeah, self-growth, but also the analogy of battle, right? Like, even somebody who's never fought before feels drawn to fighting because you have a battle. Like, you have battles, I have battles. The image of that battle might be a little different, but the themes are the same. There's conflict, there's doubt. Can I do this? Am I going to get hurt if I do this?
Right.
So when you start learning fighting, there's something that resonates with it naturally. You could get
We're
it
always
from-
facing some sort of opponent,
Yeah.
right?
And martial art is special in that way. I mean, you could do that with other things, but you won't necessarily feel that by, let's say, learning how to play piano, right? It's a skill, but it won't necessarily resonate with that concept of battle.
Right.
So it's beautiful to me when I have people who are really going through something really serious and they still come to class and just want to train despite it. Because that vehicle of battle, it's an opportunity for them. It's an opportunity to say either, am I strong or am I weak? And everybody ultimately asks themselves that question. Am I strong? That's all we really want to know. For little boys, they just want to know, am I a man? For little girls, they want to know, am I as weak as everybody says I am? Everybody wants to know that basic question, am I strong? And in a martial art framework of learning, you're purposely putting people in a position where if you don't be strong, you're going to die. Maybe not die in a real sense. Like, nobody's dying in my classes.
But you definitely don't want to get hurt. You don't want to be.
Yeah.
You don't want to end up on the ground.
Yeah, you are put in a grow or die situation. You know, you can either be.
And sometimes you have to get hit. You have to be knocked down.
Yeah.
Before you learn how to get up and stay
And
up.
there's value in
and
that
fight.
too. There's a lot of value in that because you start to understand the difference between a hit and a hurt. Somebody who's never been punched in the face or never been in a fight confuses all hits for hurts. Right? And in Muay Thai, there are no levels. Like, there's no white belt, yellow belt, black belt, etc. There's just you and your skill. So yeah, there's really not. But the difference between somebody's experience and somebody's inexperience is that view of hit versus hurt. There's several levels. There's several like principles in Muay Thai. Number 1, there's effective, hurt, damage, destroy, kill. There's different levels of effect when somebody hits you. And you know, if you go back to my example in basketball, I confused a hurt for an injury. I lied to myself. That's an undeveloped mind perceiving what an attack is. So when you start, you know, simmering yourself into a martial art attack, any type of attack, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, you know the difference when somebody just touched you, whether they just hit you, whether they hurt you, or whether they damaged you, or when you're about to be destroyed. So when you tangibly understand these different
levels,
you can say, I can exist here, I should stay away from here. So you understand when you're weak and when you're strong, because we're both.
Because you've never been hit, you've never been hurt, never been damaged.
Yeah.
You have no contrast. You don't have the contrast to know the difference.
And that's the problem sometimes when we don't take in activities like martial arts, is you tend to polarize yourself. You either say I'm weak or you either say I'm strong, which are both lies. You start to say I'm both weak and I'm strong. So you become humble, you become balanced, is what it is, because through tangible training. Like Jamie's a perfect example. Like when I first got him, he was really big. And he did like 5 push-ups in my basement. Kid straight up puked. And I was looking at
5 push-ups.
5 push-ups.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm like, are
man.
you freaking kidding me? If 5 push-ups, you puke? He's like, I'm sorry. But now, you know, whenever he comes to class, like I have him demonstrate. I'm confident enough to have him demonstrate how to kick. And the kid like booms the pads.
That's
And you got people that look at him, and I get him sparring right now, and he's actually pretty good when he spars. Like, he actually hurts
good.
people.
Wow.
Like, hurts actual athletes.
He's grown a lot, eh?
Yeah. So what that does for a guy like Jamie, who was so used to being unable, now he's saying, oh my God, I actually have some power. You know what I mean? Like, I've had him kick some guys and they were limping and they couldn't fight back at him.
Wow.
He's kicked some guys that's taken
No.
a window. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And that's crucial because people need to have moments in their life where they're strong, because they can draw from those moments.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, those I think are great metaphors for life. Being able to take somebody like Jamie, my cousin, if you guys don't know Jamie, my cousin, and take him from here to here, and the confidence, and like you said, he put in the work to get himself from here to here.
Yeah.
Like, he's grown that himself, and he's developed himself.
That's right.
And it's
Nobody can
fantastic.
take that away from him.
Nobody can take that, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's the one who did it himself.
That's
you
right.
provided the vehicle, but he's the one who drove
Yeah.
it. And then even with your other point with the 5 different levels, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's also a great metaphor for life, because you see all those people who are out there, are they hurt or are they really injured?
Yeah.
Because you see
Yeah.
people in life, they try something,
There's a setback.
and then there's a setback.
or
Oh,
a letdown.
life's over. Forget it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go get a real job. Especially entrepreneurs, right?
Yes, that's right.
Something goes wrong. Oh, shut it down. I'm done. I'm going to get a real job.
Like,
Doesn't
someone
work.
says no to you and it's damage.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or it's
that's
like,
right.
Exactly. You try to make a sale. No. Oh, you know what? Doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm done. I can't. I'm not.
I can't face it.
I'm
I
getting
can't
a
face
job.
it again. I'm choosing fear.
Yeah, but then you have those entrepreneurs that, fuck it, they'll go bankrupt 3 times
Yeah.
and they'll still go at it.
Yep.
And they'll come
And
back.
they'll come back.
Come back
and
on
they'll make
top.
it work.
Yeah, that's true.
Unbelievable.
Overestimation. And this is where the whole theme of the body leading the mind is important, because your body knows the degree of the pain. Your body will tell you. Your body said, this is just a bruise. This is a cut. This is a broken bone. This is a torn tendon. This is your organs shutting down. This is internal
Holy
bleeding.
crap.
Your body knows. It will never lie.
Yeah.
Where does the lie come into? Your brain.
Your brain, your
brain
mind.
is
You
the
got a little
liar.
cut. Ah!
Yeah.
It's like a soccer player.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Sorry,
it's,
guys.
It's social.
Sorry, football fans.
It's social flopping. Essentially, is what it is. It's social flopping.
So, do you think at any point through the training and developing that awareness and mastery that the body encompasses the mind? Like, the mind becomes part of the body? Like, you have that unison? Or will it always be a battle? Or will they go on the? Will they be on the same side eventually?
Well, what I've learned in martial art is that have you ever been in the zone? Like,
Yeah, like on
doing
fire.
something where you're just,
When you're running.
Yeah,
you
something
just-
where you're just like
everything you do, you're
like zen, just like everything
Can
is
you
just going
distinguish
perfect.
between your brain and your body at that point?
No,
Yeah, and
like you're just everything that's happening is just that's it.
yeah. It's like yin and yang philosophy. You guys familiar with yin and yang?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when we look at that philosophy, we think it's a philosophy of opposites. This is day, this is night. But if you look at the symbol, the black part has a white circle in it, right? The white part has a black circle in it. So in that philosophy, even the opposing element is inside the opposing element. So it's actually not a philosophy of opposites. It's a philosophy of interconnection, oneness,
Yeah.
holism, an extremity, which if you apply it right, it all becomes one. You can't really distinguish. So in martial art, that's what we're after. We're after that point where I'm not my brain, I'm not my body, I'm not my emotion, I'm all of them, all at once. And as you get better, you can kind of experience those moments by accident. And when you get better, you start to learn how to generate those moments. And as you get better, you learn how to become those moments all the time. So does it become the point where the body encompasses the mind and the mind encompasses the body? My point is that it becomes nothing.
Yeah,
Because you don't look at yourself
You're just
like a
one.
dichotomy. You just
You just are.
you just are.
exactly. When you, and this might be a bad example, but in one of my fights, I knocked somebody out with a head kick, right?
Wow.
I saw that
Cold.
John recorded it.
Yeah, John was there
Oh,
too.
I haven't seen it. I have to see this.
But
John recorded it.
in that moment, like, I wasn't thinking about that guy. I kicked him once in the leg to make him off balance. I kicked him again to hurt him because it was open.
Yeah,
But then all in one fall swoop, I didn't try to do it. My leg just
it was
went
just
up.
fluid.
Just went up. I didn't even feel myself hit him. I just did what I wanted to do. And then next thing I know, in my flash, I saw this guy just tumbling down. So
Holy.
it was a moment it was a moment where it just all came like together. I didn't even feel
You were like
myself
tuned in.
get
You were
together.
tapped in. Like
Yeah.
you were.
You were in the zone.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, there become
That's how it was like, eh?
yeah. And I mean, I wasn't celebrating that he got knocked out. I was just there. It was just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So and I think you can get that from a lot of. This is why I love Kobe Bryant as a player. Like when I watch that guy play, he's dialed in all the time. And with LeBron, like he's awesome. He is awesome, but
He's
that
heady.
game where he put like 45 points and 15 boards on the Celtics, that's when he was dialed in. But Kobe is like that all the time. You know what I mean? Like he's putting himself in a meditative
You
state.
can find it.
Yeah, and
He has the roadmap.
yeah, and in martial art, you can do that with other sports, but I think in martial art, the onus for you to be that is much more higher, because if you're not that, there's actual penalties.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking too much, then
Yeah. In sport,
that can cost you.
yeah, I mean, in basketball, what's the worst something you have is score on you?
so yeah,
Big deal. You're not hurt,
something crosses you over
damaged,
to
Yeah.
score.
But
You
if
don't
you
have an elbow in the face.
yeah, if you're not in that zone, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get damaged. You're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
destroyed. You're gonna get killed. So the stakes are much higher, and there's something about just having those stakes that kind of wake you up to your absolute best. Like when you're swimming, right?
You have the pressure to do it.
Yeah. On your biggest races, did you find you woke up to those moments? Your biggest swim meets?
When I
As
was
an
younger,
athlete? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When I was younger, absolutely zoned
more
in,
present about
more
it.
present
Yeah.
about it. When I got older, it was
Yeah.
I was more in the head.
Yeah, that's right. But when those stakes are high, like really high, like you might wind up in a hospital, there's just this awesome feeling of your body just waking up and you being at your absolute best.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wicked.
So how do you? That's amazing.
Huh?
Like, how do you apply that when you're teaching your students? Like, how do you share with them how to apply it in their life, in the other
What
areas
I like
of
to
their
do
life?
is I like to make people look at things like black and white. If you're not doing what you love,
You're doing what you don't love.
what's the opposite of love?
Hate.
Indifference.
Indifference.
Indifference, actually. Yeah. So you're either going up or you're going down. If you go down, what's the extreme of down? You're dying. Now you might not physically die, but your money might die.
Your soul
Your
might
relationships
die.
with people might die. Your something might die. So you have to do what you love. You have to. It's not a negotiation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just have to do it.
It's like sleep. You have to sleep.
Yeah.
You have to eat. You
So-
have to do what you love.
Yeah. And in training, I don't make things a choice. Like if somebody comes in and says, I want to get in good shape, congratulations. Now do the friggin' push-ups. Do it. It's not like 20 now. No. You're doing 30. And then you're doing 30 burpees. And then you're going to run 7K.
And here's a bucket.
Yeah. And I'm not doing that to be like a total Nazi. I'm doing that so that students learn how to talk to their lower self. Because our lower self is like a child. I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Can I not? Can I do it tomorrow? And at that moment,
It's
you just
late.
had no. It's not a conversation.
Yeah, it's not
Do
a
it.
negotiation. It's
Yeah, and they need to hear my voice do that, so that they can recognize when they're doing it, and so that they can replicate it. Because they're not doing it to themselves because they've never had somebody do that. They probably had a personal trainer at like a Good Life. No offense. That was like, okay, I'll negotiate how hard I push you so that you sign up again.
oh wow.
Right? You know what I mean? So the mind loves to negotiate. The mind loves to wishy-wash. The body doesn't know how to do that. The body only knows how to say, I'm drunk, we're getting all of this alcohol out.
Yeah.
I'm not
This-
keeping some.
You're poisoned.
Yeah.
I'm poisoned right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we got to get it out.
yeah.
So all I do is I teach it in a microcosm. That's all I can do, right? I can give them those skills of knowing how to talk to yourself, knowing how to execute, and knowing how to not give yourself choices but to improve inside the gym.
You think they all have? You think your students are starting to develop a little nick on their shoulder?
I hope so.
You know, like yeah, it's like the positive programming, right? It's
Yeah. And well, the hope
retraining
is
the
that
pro-
it's not like a little nick. It's like a little themselves.
Like yeah,
themselves,
their
yeah.
true, powerful, authentic self.
Yeah.
And what's awesome is even after
So
like
awakening it, yeah.
yeah, and I see it in the gym too because even after a grueling class, they're not like lying on the floor passed out anymore. Like they're recharging.
Like in their first couple of
yeah,
sessions.
they're probably recharging for like 5 minutes, crack a couple jokes, and then they just get on the bag and start smashing the bag after they've probably been training like 3 hours, work a full day shift or whatever. Because you kind of unlock a part of yourself where you're like, I have much more energy than I thought I did.
Unleashed.
Yeah.
Unchained.
It's the mind.
Yeah.
The limitations of the mind.
Because when you're stuck at work with so many different people with other minds that are saying, I'm so tired, I need a coffee, I'm so tired, let me eat these Doritos. You might not be tired, but because you hear that all the time, you start to like kind of take that.
You've adopted the self-talk.
Yeah, you take their energy.
And
you adopt the self-talk, right?
Yeah. You start to confuse tired for fatigue. You start to confuse fatigue for consciousness or unconsciousness, right? Levels again. So I think it's getting to the point where the students also have an understanding of what energy is and what it's not. Right? Because after they do they go for a run, they do like hundreds of push-ups and sit-ups and all these exercises, and they wake up and they look at themselves like, I'm still conscious, I'm not passing out.
I'm still alive.
I still have more.
Yeah.
Let's see how far I can go.
Yeah.
I'm not dead.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Only
right.
did 100 push-ups.
Yeah. And it's good because other students are also helping others. So it's definitely becoming...
That's probably
like a
where
community.
it gets a bona fide. Like you have this crazy rewarding experience.
Yeah.
When you're just like, wow, you're turning these kids into leaders.
Yeah, for sure. You hit it right in the head. That's where it's like really rewarding for me, because I came from, I've had other leaders, and I've had leaders that was kind of a leader because they wanted to be the man. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where there wasn't really a sense of empowerment. There was a sense of establishing. Yeah. But it's like that Kanye song, no one man can have all that power. So when I see like other students good enough and like extending that power to other people, it's like a beautiful thing. Like it honestly is. Without me saying anything, they do it. They know the flow of it, and they just go with it. Yeah, absolute beautiful thing.
That's a great reflection on you as a leader.
I don't know if it's really me, to be honest with you.
You're a catalyst for it. I mean, you've created the environment for them to even discover that they're leaders.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that some of these kids just have had no opportunity to lead someone or teach someone or have that value to share with somebody. So that's freaking.
I think the only thing I
powerful
did,
for people.
I think the only thing that I try to do is I try to make being good cool. Like really. I read other leadership books and a lot of other like strategies of leading, and I don't know if I follow all of them, if I not, but all I really do is I try to make being a good person just cool. So I'll try not to talk down to people. Sometimes if somebody pisses me off, I'll let them know I'm pissed off.
You just go eye to eye.
Yeah, but I think all people really need is to be shown that good things are okay to do, and that's all leadership is to me. And there's a saying in by Lao Tzu. He said, the worst leader is the one who stands in front. The second worst leader is the one who stands behind. The best leader is the one who stands beside.
Beside, yeah.
Right? And
That's powerful.
I'm leading in the sense that I'm the guy counting. I don't know if that's really leading. Mm-hmm. I'm leading in the sense where I'm just showing people I'm cool with being virtuous. And I'm not going to get belittled for it. So now others see that too. People want to be good people. Mm-hmm. Like who really wants to be an asshole?
But they need an example. They need a good role model in their life, because sometimes they just don't have it.
They just don't.
From their parents or teachers or older brother or older sister or friends or whatever it is. Yeah,
because believe me, there's some incredible students at my place. Like there are guys in there that are major like members of the law enforcement community.
Wow. PhDs
of the education community. Like these, sometimes I have conversations and I learn from them.
Of course.
So it's hard for me to really say that I'm leading them. All I've really done is I've created like a trend where it's cool to be good. So now other good people are like being really good people.
You're that guys, it's cool to be good.
Yeah.
Write that one down.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's all I've ever done. And when I go to high schools, I just do the same thing too.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if I like to call myself a leader.
Wow. So do you have any speaking engagements that you have coming up soon? Anything in particular that we should know about?
Nah, not really. I just finished speaking at a high school at North Park Secondary School. For the most part, I do all my speaking engagements at Brampton Muay Thai. Or the blog.
That's awesome, man. So tell everybody, we got to wrap this up.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. So Brampton Muay Thai, where's Brampton Muay Thai?
Brampton Muay Thai is on 12 Automatic Road, Unit 4, on the corner of Airport and Williams.
Airport and
Okay,
Williams.
perfect.
Yeah, they can find us on the web, bramptonmuaythai.com.
BramptonMuayThai.com. Is that where your blog is as well?
That's where the blog is too.
And Facebook? You're
I
on
can
Facebook?
find you on Facebook.
Brampton Muay Thai as well.
And Nick Bautista on
Yeah.
Facebook as well.
We're all there, man.
Awesome, man.
That's it.
Fantastic.
This is dope, dude.
I hope this is the first
lot
of
of fun.
many that you come on the show.
Yes,
Hey, man, I'm
absolutely.
ready.
It's what it's all about. Like, that's what we love to talk about is just to see how one thing impacts everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you're the perfect demonstration of that. How
Thank you, man.
the self-awareness, the self-discovery, it's the metaphors throughout your entire life. It's
Yeah, how martial arts impacts all other aspects of your life. Because that is what we are discussing. Being a holistic entrepreneur
Holistic.
business.
Yeah.
We're multidimensional
Yeah,
beings.
everything, right? You want all aspects of all our life to be enriched.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing a cool thing doing this too, because oftentimes business-minded people get a bad rap in society. But if you're
the evil
you
capitalists.
guys, what you guys are actually doing is the same thing. You're making it cool to be good, and what you guys are doing is you're making virtue, the more profitable and the more sustainable way to go about doing things.
Well, I appreciate that feedback.
That's it, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you for coming, man.
Hey, man. Had a blast.
That was
Absolutely,
awesome.
Krinik.
That's it.
Thank you.
What do you have?
Sweater Cup.
That's it, dude.
Take care, guys.
Peace out. Take it easy.
See you
We'll see you
next
next
week.
week.